Ooh, what's up?
Good evening, everybody.
What's going on, everyone?
Cody.
Yo, yo, yo.
What's up, guys? Ooh,
Cody, you
it's
made
another Tuesday.
Hey.
Cody made it
Yeah, I
in.
like that background, Cody. I like
Hey,
that.
I had to do something for Veterans Day, and what better way to have this in the back to
Hey-o.
get all those troops supported, man.
I like
yeah.
it.
I like
I
that.
like it.
I had to wear my camouflage hat
I
just
like
for that too.
that.
So and rep it.
Looks good, man. Proud grass hole. That's such a ballin' hat, man. I love it.
Mhm.
I love this
Shout
thing.
out to Drunk Lawn Guy for the hat.
Yeah,
Appreciate it,
man.
brother.
Yeah.
I wore it to GIE one
That's
day
awesome.
and people were asking about it.
Nice.
So yeah, you could have sold some.
Oh man.
Yeah.
He and his buddy got to get like an Etsy shop or something, man. Or team up with Happy Mo clothing or something, dude.
Something.
I'd buy one.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Those are fire.
You.
All right. We're getting it going, man. Let's see who's in the live chat tonight. First one, Tyler Swisher. What's up, brother?
Whoosh.
Alex Carney. Ooh, they were like in there like minute one. GCL's here. Crazy about grass. Carl's cut and slice. Papa Mo's. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining.
What's up, Rooted?
Yeah.
Jack.
So
Organic Lawn Warriors in the house, guys. Organic Lawn Warrior. What is
12
up,
lights.
organic?
13.
Ew.
13
Carl's
lights.
cut and slice, lawn sauce, smoking mohawk lawn care.
Well, somebody gave us a
Turf
thumbs
nerd.
down
Hey,
already. Thank you.
Oops in there.
real quick,
Whoop.
since
Good
Rooted's in here. Rooted, look what you created with this belt, man. Look at Velvet Lawn's
man.
profile, man.
Dude.
That belt's all over.
Yeah, he did a great job of pumping some content with that belt.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about, though.
I'm-
You know, get that belt, make some reels, make some content,
Have
have
some
fun
fun.
with it, guys. Live it up. You get it for a week. You know, I think some of you
Yeah.
guys that won the first few weeks, I think you'd like to get that belt back. Or, you know, to get the belt to maybe have some more fun with it. So,
I think
but
Drunk Lawn Guy would definitely be down for that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
he might
He
get
only
out some
lives about an
sleep.
hour south of me.
I think if Drunk Lawn Guy got that belt, he might be hitting someone over the head with a steel chair,
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
jumping off the top rope or
Well,
something.
hey, let's say welcome everybody. Keep Off the Grass live cast Tuesday night, 10/9 Central. Welcome.
Go.
Let's see what episode are we on? What is this? 43, 44? I gotta look. I don't even remember. Something we've been doing this for a hot minute. 43.
43.
We got two guests on tonight. But first, before we go any further, how about we grab a glass and keep off the grass?
I got to.
Keep off the ground.
I got to peel out this ice ball from
Ooh.
my Spiker
buddy.
Spreaders ice ball mold.
Thing's tough, ain't it?
Oh, they're great.
And,
Hard
That's
to
what I was doing with
that way I
mine.
got a
Plus
nice
that ball.
ice sphere.
Nice. That's classy.
That's all right.
I like
Yeah,
it.
they got
those
some
ice
little
balls.
molds.
Hey, where'd you get
Hey.
that?
I got this at GIE from Spiker Spreaders.
Hey, I got one from
Hey,
GIE.
you got one though, right? You got.
I did.
I
I
heard
got one
something
from-
else. You might have an extra one.
So rumor has it that when KOTG hits 1,000 subscribers, you may have the opportunity to win an ice ball maker from Spiker Spreaders. So I believe we're at 880 right
spreader?
now. Or sorry, not a spreader. No. But I
Ice
believe
balls.
I believe we're at 880 subs right now.
Yep.
So it's only 120, and we only need 120 until you're going to see one of the biggest, baddest giveaways in all of YouTube, lawn care, whatever you want to call it. We're going to throw together a big old package with a lot of winners. So tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your family, tell your kids, get those subs going, because once we hit 1,000, we're going big. So light it up.
Oh, yeah.
Light
I'm
it
gonna
up.
sell my
Yeah.
body, and you can, have video chats with me at night. Yeah, that's great. I like it.
We're gonna auction off Cody for one night.
Stranger in the house.
He's gonna
Yeah,
teach
man,
you.
That's
gonna
coming.
be-
That's coming.
He's gonna be the virtual stranger in the house, teaching you guys how to role play.
You guys will. Once we hit 1,000, you will get a video on how it worked.
Oh, man, let's go, guys.
Wow, who's not buying that deal right there? Come on.
I'm gonna go make up 120 fake email accounts right now just for that.
So we're always looking for more YouTube subscribers, but what about those podcasters and those of us that like to listen on our commute to work every day? How's that been looking, Brent?
It's looking pretty good. I'm about a week behind. So I was working on one earlier today, so that should be out tomorrow. But yeah, if you're not already aware, or if you're not following along on any of the podcast platforms, we're on all the podcast platforms. We're on I don't know. Do any of you guys listen on the podcast? Because one of the things I've noticed is something seems to be up with all my podcasts on Spotify. I don't know if Spotify's got an issue, but we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Google Podcasts, on Amazon Podcasts. So wherever you get your podcasts, you should be able to find us. Just type in KOTG or Keep Off the Grass podcast, and you'll see our logo pop up. Hit us with a follow on that, and feel free to listen. We're usually about a week, sometimes 2, depending on my work schedule, behind the actual YouTube show. So give us a follow there. Also, website kotg.live. And Brian's been doing a great job keeping that thing updated.
Oh yeah.
And getting Lawn of the Week winners pictures up there, but that's obviously got all the links to the podcast platforms. You can listen to the podcasts. If you don't know anything about podcast platforms, you can listen to them on the website. It's all embedded on there. And we have our merch store with a couple little shirts, a couple little things like that, pint glasses.
Hey, do you guys see Dave Bilecki got or Papa Moslow sent Dave Bilecki a KOTG hoodie?
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
To my knowledge, that's the first spotting of a hoodie on Instagram. I ordered one, but I haven't got it yet. But yeah, to me, that's the first one I've seen. So shout out to Papa and Dave. Enjoy that sucker and rock the hell out of that thing, man, because I think you're the first one to have one.
That's awesome.
They look comfy as shit.
Yeah. Zach's got a sweet merch shirt. Look at that thing.
Yeah. I love
Limited edition.
I forgot I had this.
That's big.
When I went to GIE. And I should have brought it to GIE, and I forgot I had it. Can't see it there.
Yeah, that one's cool.
I like
it. So it's got KOTG Live on the sleeve. It's like I'm all tatted up.
I like that.
I like it.
Just think you can take that and wash it and wash your tats.
Yeah.
Well, hey, this week we're doing some more winterizing stuff. We were chatting a little bit after the show last week, and we figured there was so much more we could have talked about that we thought about afterward. We thought let's do round 2. But before we get into that, we got a couple special guests tonight. Ron, LTZ Lawn Care, is back in the house. What's up, brother? Welcome.
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Doing all right. And then we got our first timer, Ryan, Mr. Highlander Lawn. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Glad to be on.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah, man. Yeah, we're glad to have you guys. Well, let's start off, Ryan, with you first a little bit. Tell us a little bit about you, your lawn, and what are you working with, what are you cutting with, where you at, all that good stuff. Give us a little snippet about you.
Just a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Idaho. I've been mowing and cutting yards since I was 7 years old. That started because my grandpa had MS, and he'd have me come over every Saturday, start mowing that lawn at 7 a.m. and I wouldn't leave till 7 p.m. and I got paid $7 for the whole day. That's why it was always 777. And I cut my teeth on one of those old school, motorized reel mowers that are the back discharge. And yeah, dangerous as all get out. But the funny thing was the reel would stick, and I'd always have to carry a flathead screwdriver with me to pop that thing off the bed knife and get it to roll. And I kept begging my grandpa, please just get one of those new mowers and stuff. And then now that I've gotten older, I've got 3 those old school reel mowers that I'm actually going to be rehabbing and restoring this year. I'll probably take 2 of them and combine them and whatnot. But I haven't reel mowed too awful much since then because, they're not the easiest to find. And of course, I'm looking to, I'm upping my game over the next couple of years. Going to be doing some renovations to my yard. But right now, I've got a Toro Super Recycler that I love that thing. I've had it for about 18 months now and it cuts like a champ. But definitely want to, and I'm probably cutting it about, I actually took this from the Lawn Tools. They actually showed the extra low setting, which is where you take it out of the actual spots and like drop it to where it's basically skimming the ground. But I'm probably at 3/4 of an inch, maybe just a little bit more than that. But she's short and like me. But I get all the folks that live in my neighborhood that constantly go by and think that my yard is fake and that I've done something different. And I straight up tell them it's the same sod that all my neighbors have. And they're like, well, what's the difference? And I'm like, water, nutrients.
You're like, the difference is this guy right here.
This guy
That
right
fake turf that Home Depot is trying to sell.
And I have people all the time that they're like, yeah, I've watched your YouTube videos, but man, it just seems like so much work. And I'm like, it's like maybe 3 hours a week. I'm like, and you can have this too. But I'm like, nothing ever worth having is not worth, rolling up your sleeves and getting after it and stuff. And I've absolutely always been a freak about my yard. I'm not the type that, I don't tell kids to keep off the grass, but I might tell the dogs in the neighborhood to keep off my grass because they like to do nothing but damage my yard. But, I'm excited to be here. Things are a little bit cold here in Utah, home of a plentiful amount of YouTubers and Instagram on here. And so I know Jeremy and Jimmy and a couple of those guys. Have yet to meet some of the others. But it's definitely, I love the community. Love all the, when we're all working together, we're always stronger that way. So, some of the discord that happens from time to time, but love being able to talk grass. I was just telling Bill and that currently, I think this was the first day that the soil temps dropped below 50. So for me, that's kind of my marker. It's 50 degrees. Once it drops below that, I'm pretty much out. But I think it'll tap back up for just a couple of days and then I'll be done. But as far as nutrients and everything, I've put everything down that I'm putting down. Last week I put down what we get. You guys have probably seen them on some of the other some of the YouTubers out here. It's called Humate. It's sold by a local ag store here. Some people will sit there and it doesn't work and stuff. I have had nothing but success and seen a lot of results. And for me, the proof is in the pudding. People could say, that doesn't work. Well, my grass says different and my soil says different too. So which is the big thing. So, but yeah, and then the other big thing, and Jeremy will the Greener Lawn will tell you that he and I have pretty much the warmest arguments we ever have is about my irrigation system versus his irrigation system. He never stops giving me grief about having MP rotators, but I will never. I will go to my grave fighting that those are some of the best design nozzles that have ever been made. But there's people that have different experiences, different opinions. That's cool, but I love those. And for me, watering is 60% of the battle. So
yeah,
did you blow out your irrigation? You blow it already?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I some of my neighbors, in fact, I did a project lawn this year for a guy that lives about a block away from me. And I said, hey, have you blown that out? And he goes, oh, no, I haven't. And I'm like, well, I'll be right over because I retroed his entire sprinkler system. Cut it. I redid the manifolds, the valves, all the heads, got all done. I'm like,
I'm not doing that again.
Let's get this thing, but I am not tearing that crap back out again. It can take 20 minutes to blow those things out, but it amazes me. He's like, oh, I could have swore that these lines would just drain themselves. I'm like, no, that works. Like, you got to blow that crap out, my friend.
So where you're at, what's your water situation? Because I know some of the guys in Utah have kind of talked about it. And it sounds like they're all kind of different, unique. Do you have any runoff off the mountains? Do you get a certain day? Like what's yours look like?
Well, we have I have secondary irrigation, which when I moved to this area, that was the first time I ever experienced secondary. Usually it was all, a line that come off the house. So I had culinary in that regard. When we moved into our first house, it had one single filter, and that thing would clog every week. The filtration that the city would provide, I mean, you'd get little tiny fish, you'd get frogs, you get rocks, it would just literally cake on to where it was about 1/4 of an inch thick, and it would literally shut the whole thing down. And so after I'd been mowing, I'd go take the filter off, clean it, put it back on. Well, when we moved to our house that we live in now, the first thing I did was, and I had just started a new job, and I asked the guy that was installing it, I'm like, I need a 3-filter system. And he's like, oh, you don't need that. And I'm like, well, I'm paying the bill.
Yeah.
That makes me the boss. And I'll pay you whatever it takes to put that in, because I don't have the time to install that system myself. But by all means, please just tell me what your charge is on that, and I'd be more than happy to pay it. And he begrudgingly did that. But there's some things I've had to fix on the system. But the filtration did get a little bit better. But some of the restrictions that we've had, I've never had it quite this hard. The pressure has been the worst. Jimmy, his lines come off of the local, his lines are actually tied into the fire hydrant service lines. So they never shut off as far as, so he has that. I'm like, so you're never going to get shut off and you can run them whenever you want. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, awesome.
Must be nice.
Must be nice.
Right?
And, and then Jeremy.
That's how my sprinklers are. They're tied into the neighbor, So.
Yeah.
If that person's lawn ever looks
tied
bad,
into the
they don't have an
neighbor's yard?
excuse.
Yeah, use their water. They don't know.
Oh, how come our
It's like
water bill doubled?
lawn care version of stealing somebody's Wi-Fi password or something.
That's right. That's
Hey,
right.
Ron. I know you've been on before, but it's been a minute, and you're out there in Jersey. Tell us a little bit about your lawn for those that don't know you.
Lawn's it's still green, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Got a little beat up the last couple of weeks. Had a big oak tree taken down in the front, so I'm trying to rehab that now where they dropped it and put some dents in the lawn. So
Yeah.
but can't complain about that for the price I paid for the tree. So
Awesome. Well, so we're here talking about winterizing. We got a little bit, sounds like Utah's wrapping things up. I'm in mid-Missouri. Man, we had a beautiful weekend. Weather was perfect. Mid-70s, well, not mid-70s, let's say. Almost to 70, 71-ish on Sunday. Today was another beautiful day. But then coming up here is going to be getting into the highs in the low 50s, high 40s, dropping down into the 30s at night. So I think, unless we get a warm spell, we're done. I'm done for the year, man. I was going to pull out my sprinklers and wrap all that stuff up this weekend, but I was a little lazy there. I didn't do that. So I might do that next weekend. But now I'm just like sadly staring out the window. Grass is still green, but I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do anything now, man. What am I going to do? The long wait begins.
Black Beauty came in thick, man. That's what I seeded mine with. It's good stuff.
Yeah. I wanted to cut it a little shorter. It's long, but I think it's going to be prime time to come next spring. I'm pretty excited. It did really well.
Yeah, you're going to notice
really
a big
good.
difference in the spring. That's going to come in green and thick, and mine every year is the same thing. It's just I keep reseeding with that Black Beauty. It's like, okay, here we go, another $85 right there. Whoop.
Yeah.
Is there multiple types of Black Beauty, or isn't there like a couple types?
Yeah,
of Black
Yeah,
Beauty?
there's a few of them.
Yeah, they got a couple different ones. They got some new one out now that I just actually threw down. It's a Texas bluegrass or something, like a solar. Supposed to be some drought tolerant. So I threw that in the mix too. So here, well, how bad could that hurt? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest,
Tuckahoe? Are you close to Tuckahoe's sod farm?
How far, Brian? What's that, like an hour from here? Or an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, about an hour and a half. Yeah, me and Ron are the next town over. So
Nice.
he's right by me. So yeah, it's about an hour and a half from us.
I know they were saying if you bought a bag of seeds, you got a tour of the farm and all that stuff. I hope they go up there next year.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, we got a couple of sod farms actually in the area here too. That I guess I'm not sure. One of them does use the Jonathan Green, I know, and I'm not sure what the other ones are using too. But
Yeah, I used that last year because I was being cheap. I did the Seed Superstore my first year, then the GCI. Then I was looking for something, maybe save a couple bucks. I was like, let's try Jonathan Green. And then I used it. And I was like, man, this, all right, do it again, man. I was pretty impressed. And I liked how it had a little bit of ryegrass and bluegrass mixed in there too, to try to change things up a little bit. So I'm excited to see how that looks. Cause when I did the overseed before, I had a pretty good fescue base, but here it was mostly dirt and weeds. So I'm excited to see how that looks next year. And
yeah, so when I got my first bag, I got it from my father-in-law. His company was doing they do environmental work. So they do oil tanks. They were taking a tank out. I guess they reseeded somebody's property, and he brought the 50-pound bag home with, maybe 2 handfuls taken out of it. So I capitalized on that one. never turned back.
Well, yeah, we
Mark?
like, it was kind of weird for, oh, hey, what's up, Mark? What's up, buddy?
There he is.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, we had like this weird cold snap in New Jersey where like we were getting frost last week. I was taking the kids to school in the morning. I walked outside. I was like, oh no, this is not a thing right now. Which is surprising. It's like, I mean, I'd have to look back and see what I wrote down in my notes last year, but like off the top of my head, it's at least 2.5 weeks earlier than last year. Than when I first had frost. So that was really disturbing for me.
So I was watching the news today, and they were talking about in Iowa that the average snowfall is November 14th. The average first snowfall is November 14th.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, and I'm thinking, we're a month away, but in all reality, I mean, we could be a week away. And so as I'm watching the forecast, they're actually talking in northern Iowa, they're in Minnesota. They're going to probably see some snow Friday night. So it's definitely lurking in the Midwest, and it's coming. So, but yeah,
I got snow Sunday.
You did?
I have snow in the forecast for this Sunday coming. And it's a pretty high chance.
Yeah. It's kind of right
up,
that
Cody?
Olee, how's your seed doing, man? You get germination yet over there?
Yes,
How you doing, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
I wish we had a little rain to help things, but actually, every year learn a little more, see a little more. Last year was way ahead of where I'm at now, which we had a lot more rain, just a lot more help as far as keeping everything damp, and starting to really see some difference in that, making me think about different equipment and different ways of achieving good germination and stuff. So learn something every year.
Oh yeah.
Have you guys happened to see the Lawn Tools thing on that technique of early germination, soaking the seed? And yeah, he just put that out a week ago. It was pretty interesting. I'm like, I'll have to give that a shot. So, but anyway, the trick is to soak the seed, pull it out, drain it, let it keep moist, and then just as it's starting to germinate, mix it with your like Milorganite or something and throw it out, and that helps to
spread it out.
Huh.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I've heard of that. Yeah, I've heard of that.
So get it to germinate before you throw it out.
On that Pro Turf Talk or something like that. They done some of that about a month ago.
Yeah, he showed some pictures of some rye that was starting to germinate, and it like has this little puffy white thing that comes out of the seed itself. And he's like, as soon as you see that, you've got to put it out immediately. And I'm like, man, if I could do that, I'd be down for that.
Yeah, definitely worth. It's definitely something worth trying.
Seed.
Yeah, I mean, you can get seed to literally germinate if you just keep it moist. You can literally just put it in a paper towel and expose it. I mean, literally, it'll germinate. Milorganite's big on that. They pitch that a lot on mixing theirs with the FOSS in there. I actually tried it this year. I didn't have great results just because I felt like it's a pain in the ass trying to get it out of a spreader. But if you're going to just essentially spread it by hand, like in a smaller area, it's extremely effective. But if you're trying to cover like 5,000 square feet or more, it's just really challenging, at least in my opinion. Even with, I tried it both with the Scots and the Spiker spreaders, and it just, once that seed is
Wet and
got
fluffy.
the moisture in it, it's just really hard to accurately get that to broadcast how you want it to, at least in my
I think
opinion.
you use the drop spreader. Did you use a broadcast?
No, I don't have a drop spreader. I only have broadcast spreaders. So that's probably, I mean, maybe that makes a huge difference. But I mean, I've done it literally, like I've done like patching with it, and that's actually where I got the idea. So I had some pretty serious landscaping done this year where we put in a bunch of new trees and we cut out a bunch of new edges, and we put in some ornamental plants, and that just absolutely tore up my existing grass. And that's actually how I tried it. Is I had areas were completely torn out, like bare dirt, and I tried that with some perennial rye, and I was amazed. Like when I just literally was just feeding it by hand using that method that you're referring to, and it was incredibly effective. And then I tried it for the first time with a broadcast spreader, and it was it was an effing I'm not gonna it was a disaster. But yeah, but doing it by hand, I mean, it literally, like I use the Mountain View Seeds, their perennial regas. I think it's the SS 9000, whatever it is, on Seed Superstore. And I mean, I was getting, legit establishment in like 2.5 days in optimal conditions. In normal situations, that'd be like 6 or 7 days. And so I did feel like it really was effective doing that.
I'm going to try that.
Awesome.
Try that
Spring.
next year.
Yeah. I would be so afraid to just screw it up and then ruin my $80 bag of seed or something. Gretchen,
Yeah, that's the thing. Some of the stuff is really expensive.
Yeah, especially now.
That'd definitely be a pucker moment if that
I think
happens.
I might try that in the spring, because I got some spots in the backyard where I did the renovation in the backyard. I got some spots of just divots, like places where, I don't know, maybe the dog peed on it and it just didn't germinate well, or I just didn't have great coverage. But I was out this past weekend when I was mowing, and I just noticed I got like a bunch of little divots, like little, kind of like, I don't know, maybe 3-inch diameter, kind of like little spots. It almost looks like I was out there hitting golf balls, So I'm gonna have to go. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to go through and fill in a couple of those little spots. I mean, but you can't notice it unless you're kind of like right on top of it when you're mowing and stuff. But that might be a good tactic for trying to attack some of those in the spring. Hadn't thought of that really. But when you said that, Ryan, I was like, oh, you know what? I have seen that, and I totally forgot about it. So
Jordan admits that he made a mistake as he makes the video, but it was interesting. I was like, it's always worth a try. I mean, we all
something new.
Experience and trial by error is usually the best teacher, but Lord knows I've done that enough.
Cody, how's Texas, my man? You've been busy down there. I've been seeing some of your stories and some of your little videos there. You've been working, getting them muscles probably pretty sore, a little back a little tired, a little forearms a little tired. What are you up to these days?
That first day, getting everything mowed down, and I'm telling you what, that Sunjoe Dethatcher Scare Fire, that thing's no joke. That thing works really great. And boy, oh boy, I didn't think I'd have as much grass come up as I did when I was dethatching. I had it on the lowest setting on my Bermuda after I scalped it down, and it did well enough where it scared the ground. And I was like, that's sweet, because I was going to scarify it, because tell you to do that with Bermuda to break up those runners so that ryegrass, has a chance to get out there and, do its thing. But, that dethatcher did its job. I think the hardest part about everything that day was picking up all that dead damn grass.
Yeah.
So,
my back and
So Cody, I get asked all the time. I've done some dethatcher review videos, and of course, everything I do is cool season. But I get asked, well, will this work in Bermuda and stuff? And I'm like, hey, I'm not a warm season grass guy. I mean, wild Bermuda that grows here, I kill it. And but did it tear up? I mean, you said you used the Scarfire blade, or you used the dethatching tines?
Nah, yeah, I use the dethatching tines, and when I first got it, I put it together and went out to the backyard, because right now my backyard is sitting at around 2.25, 2.5 inches for my Bermuda back there. And I was like, well, look what this does. Let's see what this bad boy can do. and I dropped it down to the lowest setting on that 2 inches of Bermuda back there, and that it took it up. I mean, it. I have one strip in my backyard, and my wife hates it because it's an eyesore now because it just tore it all up. But
I got yelled up at my daughter for that because I did my front with it, and she comes home and goes, "Good job, Dad, you killed the grass." And it's like, no, it'll come back. Don't worry, it'll come back. It looks like shit right now, but give it a couple weeks.
Yeah, so it definitely works with the Bermuda. Yeah, and I mean the reason I wanted to do that in the front yard is, as low as I did, is I really wanted to see that soil when I overseeded. And what you guys are talking about, I got cheap seed. I didn't want to, because if I mess up, I don't want to buy no $150, $200 bag of great seed and F up, and because I effed up today. But yeah, it's great. I think I had my water running today for 5 hours on my front yard. So I think one section of my front yard is going to be shit because I turned it on. I ate lunch and I was like, all right, after I'm done eating, I'm going to go turn that shit off. And then I had a couple work meetings and I went to sleep for a nap. I woke up at 4:00 and I put that shit on at 11. And I walked outside when I was going to get my kids at daycare. And I was like, why is the garage open? Why is the water on? And it was like a pool over there. But hopefully that Pennington ryegrass holds up. But I don't think so, man. That's a lot.
I did that once this summer in my front yard. I did that. It's like I was out, like evening hours. It was not humid, but it was hot. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and water in the afternoon. And one thing led to another, and I just got dizzy and totally forgot. And I walked outside the next morning. The sprinkler was still going.
Like, oh man.
But I just went like, oh no.
I got a question for you guys. I know we only have one warm season guy, Cody. Do any of you guys actually routinely bag your clippings?
Yeah,
I do in the beginning
leaves.
of the season.
Let's talk about leaves with that. Do you bag your leaves or do you mulch your leaves?
Yeah, the reason I'm asking is it's actually really interesting. So like in the city that I live in, I have a compost bin. It's the same size as like my trash can, my recycle bin. And you can choose, like you can pay the fee to get that bin, or you can actually bag like the the paper bags. So for me, it's just so much easier to just dump my, because I bag. I don't have a huge lawn. I mean, it's like 8,700 square feet of actual grass. So it's easier for me when I'm, instead of trying to bag individually, I just, just dump it into a bin. But the guy who was the best man at my wedding, he was telling me he lives, in Iowa too. And he's like, we don't have that, man. And he's got like a half acre and he's got really established trees. He was sending me a picture today. I could not believe the amount of leaves, like 99% coverage in his lawn. And he was like, man, I'm just going to bag them. I'm just going to mow and bag. Cause I'm going to be out here for hours and hours and hours on raking. I'm curious, like for you guys, that sounds like a lot of you guys are cool season, like, because Cody, you're just mentioning like, the amount of like pickup and stuff. Do you guys have like, how do you treat if you go and you scarify your lawn, you dethatch and you get tons of buildup, or you have tons and tons of leaves? Like, what do you guys do with them?
Burn it.
Burn it down.
I burn it.
So we bag them here, like in my town. Like our town, you get X amount of bags, and then you can get your own. So I just cut all my trees down, so I have now all my neighbors' leaves.
See, but Zach, in a lot of places, you can't just burn your leaves.
No, and I mean I have like a compost pile.
That's it, yeah.
And I'll compost it and I'll turn it and then I'll burn it in my burn barrel, like when it gets real dry. And I take that ash and I put it back onto my compost pile. And I just
take that ash.
and I'll take the ash and I'll put it in my garden. And I'll till it in for the spring. So like I keep recycling it one way or another. But sometimes though, I mean, grass clippings don't break down that quick, really. I mean, when they're in a pile,
Yeah. And they're sitting there.
yeah, like in your lawn, they can if you're, not breaking the 1/3 rule, but they don't break down in a pile that quick. But like leaves and stuff, adding in the right nitrogen ratio, I mean, it might be able to, but leaves, who's dealing with leaves? I don't deal with leaves.
The
really.
dad spot lawn in our chat, but that he puts all of his clippings, he just dumps it into his neighbor's yard. Ultimate power move.
So that's instead of stealing the water, he just dumps the grass
right there.
Dumps the grass there.
Dump.
Mark, if you want some experience with some leaves here in about a week or two, you can come down and hang out on my hill.
So like, for Nate, like you, like,
crazy.
what do you do? Like you back up to that course there. There's big trees. I mean, you got to have a ton. I mean, I assume you're not out there raking. I mean, what do you do with them?
Yeah. So last year, my lower quarter acre, I just mow all those. Basically, I have a set of stairs, paver stairs that run up my hill, and I mow up into that, and I'm just mulching all those. But everything that's on the hill, last year I just had like a corded blower, and I had to find 300-foot extension cords to run from my house all the way to the top of the hill. But I have probably like 50 trees, and so it was like a maze because I'd get up there and I'd start blowing it, and then I'd be like caught around the tree, so I had to come all the way back down, then come over, and then go all the way back up. So that's why I'm like, screw this, I'm buying a backpack blower, and I got one.
Yeah.
So then,
That's very effective blowjob there.
Yeah, it was a long blowjob. Let's put it that way.
Powerful blowjobs.
Hours.
So, but so what I
he was tired after all that.
I ended up putting them into two piles, basically left side and right side of the hill. And I ended up with, the bags you're talking about, the leaf bags that you can buy at like Home Depot, whatever. I ended up with 29 of those last year. And so what I did is, the town I work in, they have a free where you can dump shrubs and grass and all that stuff. So what I would do is I just bought like 5 of them, and every day I'd come home from work, and I get home from work now and it's dark. It sucks. And so I would be out there in the dark with like a little head flashlight, like raking leaves out of this pile into these bags, and I'd throw them in the back of my truck. I'd drive down after work. I'd go to the compost. I'd dump them all out. I'd save the bag, and then I'd come back and I'd fill them back up. And I did that for like 2 weeks straight. But there's so many leaves back there that, I mean, you couldn't mulch them all. There's so many. And, you see some people, they'll show a video of like, oh, I just got my lawn completely cleared. It looks great. And then literally an hour later, it looks like you never did anything, because when the leaves are dropping, they just drop.
Nate, do you have the option to buy the 64-gallon the yard waste bin?
No.
Yeah, see, that's what I've been curious about, because for us, it's only $86 a year for it, and they collect starting in March, and they go all the way. I got 2 more weeks on it. So I was curious, because I'll be honest. I mean, I'm just accustomed to the village here, and to me, I was like, oh, it's a no-brainer. But I couldn't imagine bagging 29 bags of that stuff.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
like my town picks them up throughout, like just starting October to January. It's like, okay, you put them at the curbside, they'll come with the garbage truck and pick them up. Or summertime, you have to buy grass coupons, so it's $1 a bag. So I always tell them, I got leaves. It's just leaves. When it's I'm hoisting these bags that weigh 80 pounds with the grass clippings that I didn't use. But most of the guys are cool at the dump. You're cool with the guys there, I know
that's interesting, because in my town it's just.
Do any of you guys have
go ahead,
rules
Ryan.
of thumb? Do you guys have any rules of thumb as to whether when you stop mulching? Because here I live at like 4,300 feet above sea level, and so the at such a high elevation, I don't get the pressure that will unless there's heat involved to help break down the clippings and stuff. So usually after about 85 degrees, I'm done. I quit mulching and whatnot, because they just will not break them down fast enough. And next thing I know, it just turned into garbage and it's not doing what it needs to do. So do you guys have any of those things that you're like after a certain point? Because I don't,
I mean, I blow it out the side all year long, and it mulches them up.
That sounds like some Modia might help you with that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a mulching mower, and I mean, it shreds them for what I use, for what I have, the type of leaves I'm dealing with. So
Yeah, because I put all my clippings after that point just in my garden, and then I till it in with my tiller and stuff. So I just I'm always curious to hear what you guys do, but here after the heat drops past 85, it's just, in my opinion, it's just not worth it. It just it causes more.
That's interesting. I mean, that's an interesting consideration. That's something I never thought about.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Elevation having an impact. I'm breaking it down. Yeah. I hate bagging, man. And it's mostly because I'm lazy as shit. I just don't like doing it. I don't like dealing with it. But since COVID, I live in like a super liberal college town, but since COVID hit, the trash pickup and recycling has been atrocious here. They only pick up recycling every other week, and you have to put in these blue bags. And if the guys see anything in there that's not recycling, they'll just leave it. They don't pick up clippings. So thankfully, I figured out where to take those Home Depot clipping bags that you put all the clippings in, and you can dump them in right. Exactly. Yeah. But they have a compost area where you just like dump all that crap out, branches, twigs, all that kind of stuff. And so I have to like bag those up, and then I put them inside trash bags so that my minivan doesn't smell like grass clippings for the rest of the week. Try to lock in that smell. Anyway, I hate it. So I only do it if I absolutely have to. I'll mulch, or if I'm making a TikTok and I want to blow a bunch of crap on the end and try to make a video of all the clippings blowing it off. I'll do the side discharge sometimes too, but mulching or side discharge is what I'll do, unless it's too long or too wet and I have to bag.
My wife and I, we tried like 3 or 4 weeks ago. We were when we did all this ornamental landscaping, we were pulling out a bunch of like shrubs and other ornamental plants. And we put them in like 6 or 7 40-gallon garbage bags, and we put like the extra trash sticker on it. And the guy put like a sticker on it, and he wrote on it like, basically like, don't ever do this again. We will never pick up your shit. We're like, God damn it. He caught us.
Yeah. He got us. God damn it.
It's funny. Yeah. Like I don't have any of these like issues with my town. So like in the spring, they'll start picking up the brown paper bags, grass clippings, and that goes all the way through until the winter time. So they just come every Tuesday and just pick up the bags, like whatever I have there. And I put so much crap in those things, man. Like, I have that huge oak tree in my front yard, and I'll go through. I did it once last week, and I'll probably have to do it 2 more times. I'll have to go through and actually like seriously rake out my front yard, and I'll rake all of those acorns like out into the street, and then I'll use a shovel and I'll dump them all in those bags. And like some of those bags end up being like 100 pounds, and my man just comes. They just take.
Well, you're lucky they come every Tuesday, because around here they sit at the curb for a month before they come. And hey, I laugh at the guys. I said, yeah, good luck throwing that in the truck, man, because that thing's been sitting in water, and
exactly.
Here, I stand out there with the shovel. Here you go, man, clean it up, because once the bag breaks,
Hey, don't forget to tip your waste management people. I tell you what, make your life a little bit easier.
He comes on Tuesdays. That's a good day.
Yeah. Do any of you guys have the towns where you can like blow all your leaves and stuff out to the curb? And they have like a truck that just comes by and like sucks them all up.
No, what?
No, they all
used to have that years ago
into my yard, but unfortunately that we don't have that.
Yeah, there's some.
It's like my buddy paid like $450 for his landscaper to just blow them out to the street. I'm like, dude, you could have saved yourself a ton of money by buying yourself a blower and just blow them out there yourself. He's like, oh, you're gonna charge me $450, and that was just the first cleanup. He goes, he's gonna come back 2 more times.
Hey, I've heard of that, Nate. I mean, I've seen that.
Yeah, there's actually some towns where you can do that. You literally just blow them out to the curb, leave them essentially in the street, like literally on your curb. And I don't know if they just drive around the city and just suck them all up or what they do, but it's not a service that you pay for. It's just like part of the city,
Yeah, my town used to do that years and years and years ago, and then they switched to the plastic bag. Then they went to the paper bag, and that's the new thing now. It's paper, and like I said, I'll wait until like if I the last final cleanup, I'll just there's not that much, I'll just mulch it right in and be done.
Yeah, I know the town that I used to live in here a few years back. Any yard waste, whether it be leaves, grass, anything, you had to buy a stamp, and it was like $1.50 or something like that. So that's probably why I never bagged, just because I wasn't paying for that. But yeah, I mean, you get leaves and everything, and I mean, it was maybe a $20 bill just to get all your leaves picked up, and I just thought that was ridiculous. So you had to go buy stamps.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like,
I got into a fight with the guy at the dumpster one day because he was like, "Oh, you don't have your grass clipping coupons?" I go, "No, I didn't have the clipping coupon." You know, I said, "I pay taxes, like this is included." And he's like, "No, well, we have to pay for the truck." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" He goes, "Yeah, it's $21 for us to dump the truck." And I go, "Yeah, if 42 people put bags in this thing, you just made $21." You know, I was like, "So," and he was like, "All right, just throw your bag in here and get out." Get the hell out of here! Yeah. We have a company the next town over where it's mulch recycling. You can bring stuff there, and I think a trailer load's like $18 or something. So they have mulch. You can buy mulch and stuff from them. But
well, hey, speaking about bagging it, this lawn of the week was in the bag this week. I think we had a pretty clear winner. We're about 45 minutes in. Should we announce our newest KOTG lawn of the week winner, Zach?
Yes, we should. So we have a drunk lawn guy who is the president of the Lawn of the Week Club. I feel like we haven't really given much love lately. Could be vice versa, but shout out to drunk lawn guy. But this week we have a new addition to the club, and that is bearded lawn guy.
Yeah. He's already got the Thanksgiving turkey blow up thing out there. That's awesome. I saw one of those in our town here just the other day.
So like, look, speaking of leaves, look at that bottom picture. And you can see that not only do you have the mowing domination line, and then you have the leaves
blow it
domination
into the
line.
neighbors.
That's what he's doing, I'm sure, man. Get over there.
I don't know how that happened. They just congregated right there along that line.
Crazy.
It just seemed heavier right along the property line. It's kind of strange.
Keep them mulched. It looks good.
Sick parkway too, looking good. I like it.
Yeah, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a big one. He's got a big one. Yeah,
I like it.
Good.
That's what she said.
Probably makes it a lot easier to take care of.
That looks like a good 8 foot.
Yeah, he's pretty straight too.
Yeah.
What's he storing there in the driveway? Is that like a Halloween float? Is that a boat? What is that?
Halloween float.
I mean, like, seriously, it looks
bushes.
There's shrubs with like cobwebs on them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
probably left over from Halloween. We had those in our yard until my wife took them down just the other day.
Yeah. So I was talking to him the other day. I think last week. I was kind of asking, I was like, is it a duplex or like, what is it? Because it is kind of just like a weird little kind of section of lawn. But no, I mean, it looks great, and stripes are looking good, and he posts some of his backyard as well. The backyard looks just as nice as the front. So domination, nice green.
After last week with DIY guy, man, these duplex type setups, the domination, like it's so aggressive that I'm just like a huge fan of it.
It's like they share a wall, they share a yard, and you can tell
it's awesome.
Who doesn't. It's great.
I mean, just think about that sitting on your back patio, and you're just sitting there looking at yours and looking at your neighbors, like look at yours, look at your neighbors, and if you're that neighbor, you're like, God, I'm just getting my ass kicked right now.
Well, what I honestly really respect about anybody that's in a townhome duplex kind of situation is realistically when your development was built, and especially if you had sod laid, I mean, it's the exact same sod that you're sharing. So if your grass is looking that much different than the other person's, it's really a testament to what you're doing, which I think is really cool.
That's a good point. Yeah, definitely. It's all about the effort, the time, the commitment. It's something you enjoy doing, so it definitely shows. That's really cool to see.
I don't think he's in here, Dave. Dave keeps asking a bunch of questions, but I don't think he's in here.
I don't think he's on tonight.
What's your number? Where you live?
Dave is back in all caps. I love it.
Yep, he's all caps. He's serious. I'd like to know what he uses
This cat
in
must
those
have hit the
rocks.
broadcast button.
Oh no!
Mower
I wanna
use
know
and
how
fertility
hard-
program.
How hard is
What?
Dave hitting that keyboard right now? How hard? What mower are you using? I have caps on. Can't you see it?
Answer me.
Must be
What
that
we have here
sweatshirt.
is failure to
I
communicate.
love it.
So,
Hey, I also wanted to take a minute and acknowledge that it's Veterans Day on Thursday. And if anybody in the live chat is about it,
cheers to our
feel free
veterans.
to drop your branch of service and thank you
Army,
for your
baby.
service. Appreciate that. Well, we just want to make sure that we don't let the episode go without saying thank you to all of our veterans that
Thanks, guys.
that are watching the show, listening to the show. Thank you guys. Thanks for everybody for serving and doing your part.
Oh yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
All
So I
the
was gonna-
seamen out there.
God, Cody. So I was going to bring up mowers. What do you guys do as far as storing your mowers for the year? Do you change the oil before you store it? Do you change the oil in the spring? Do you clean it up? Do you sharpen your blades? I guess, what do you do? If you have a rider, do you take the battery out, throw it on a trickle charger? Do you fill it up with gas? Do you throw some stable in it? Let's hit on that topic real quick if you guys want to.
Yeah, actually, Jason Riley, I'll give a shout out. Jason Riley in our chat actually asked that, is there anything that you do outside of basically just running the fuel out, essentially? I'm curious to hear this too.
I always keep a full tank. I don't like running my gas out, and I'll throw some stabilizer in there, but I also throw some seafoam in it because I don't want my carburetor getting gummed up and getting varnish and whatnot on it. So I always keep that full, and I always make sure that I run it through after I filled the tank a little bit with it. I'll run it for 5 or 10 minutes and let it get through the line and help do that. And then I always change my oil, sharpen my blade, and wash her up and then put her away because first thing I want to do is I don't want to be doing all that on my first mow next year. So
Yeah. I'll store it with the True Fuel.
Do you guys, so for those of you that are like go through a heavy winter, do you guys ever fire up your mower like in the middle of, January, February, just to give it a run or anything, or do you just let it sit?
I do it just to let the neighbors know I'm still number one in the neighborhood.
Is that how you striped your driveway last year?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I want to know what Olee does with his equipment in the winter. That's what I want to know. You got all this badass equipment. I see you draining out the water out of your roller. I mean, what else are you doing? Oh, well, we can go back to Olee.
Don't make her. She's gonna hush up.
It's all good.
Right, here's your crown. Hush.
Girl.
Most of the stuff, just put it inside. The stuff that's diesel, engine, diesel fuel, you don't really have to worry about that much. Stop it. Looky here.
Look at
Got her bottom lip stuck slam out. But your gas powered stuff, you can either put stable in. But what I like to mainly do is run everything empty. If you run it empty, you don't have to worry about it as much. If not, come next year, if you got the ethanol gas or something, you're going to be cleaning out main jets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's funny because I've heard both sides of it. I think you could let's say chat or whatever you can go into, you're going to hear both sides of it, and your grandpa might say, oh, you got to drain it. And the other guy's grandpa say, oh, I'll leave that shit full. I think it's like anything. There's no right way or wrong way. More than likely, both of them are going to start up next spring. So in my opinion, like if you've always done it one way, just stay with that and do what you're comfortable with, do what you know. But I mean, like I said, we got people right here, one person saying leave it full, one person saying leave it empty. I personally don't think it matters. That's my opinion.
You do you.
Yeah, they say condensation or something if you leave it half or whatever. But
Yeah.
I use the True Fuel, so like that's not ethanol. if you're going to store it. I mean, that's supposed to have like a 5-year shelf life on opened or something, 2 years once it's open. But like I said, never had a problem with it so far. So
I think if you take care of your equipment throughout the season, it's going to be okay on the off season. I mean, as long as you're, checking your spark plugs and, checking your air filters and, if you gotta have belts or whatever, checking those. I mean, it's going to be fine. It's just like the bagging and not bagging. Everyone's got differences. So
yeah, I always
keep up with your shit.
I'll tell you firsthand. I went into winter last year. Snow came, and I got super lazy, and I left both my Swordman and my Toro, both my Toros, just as is, and all 3 of them did not start in the spring, and I had to do some maintenance. So I would suggest not doing something, not nothing.
I had an old neighbor who used to leave his lawnmower outside for all year round, and he'd go out there and pull it, and the damn thing would start every time. I'm like, I got a DR walk behind the thing. I leave it out there, the damn thing, I can't start it. So.
Like Zach, what do you do with your rider? I mean, that's
so like I keep like Cody was saying, I keep up on it throughout the year, but like I am due probably now to change my air filter, to sharpen the blades, all that. I'm going before I talk about the winter storage, but so like, yeah, the winter time. So yeah, I normally keep it full. I keep it in a warm shed. It's well insulated. So
in his living room.
Yeah. But so like I keep it full. And I'll start it a couple times a year. Just because I miss it. But it's a good in the off season,
Zach,
though.
I mean, if you get enough bourbon in you, I mean, you keep it warm.
I don't know. I'm actually kind of thinking about getting a plow on it to plow my drive. So
there you go.
But like the wintertime, though, I'd say it's a good time to do maintenance on it. Like I have a bunch of grease points on my deck, and so I lube that thing up.
Do you know?
So I like, for real though, like all jokes aside, like I hit all my grease points. There's a lot, and just get it all greased up for the spring, and then like it feels good when you're ready on the.
Oh, it feels good, all right.
I mean, a 60-inch deck needs. I mean, that's a lot of touch points, man.
That's a lot of lube.
So, I'm gonna make a video on it. And I'm gonna show.
Oh yeah,
so many points.
Do.
POV.
I want to see.
But
oh, goodness gracious.
Good Lord.
But it's important to hit that. I mean, especially when it's that old. I mean, you got to keep up on it. So like,
hit it when it's old.
I'm sure it's 32 years old, man. And
I'm 40. Yeah. I'm 47, and I still hit it.
Yes, my dad had a Craftsman like 36-inch, and he had the snowblower attachment for it, and that thing, it was a pain in the balls to take apart and put back on.
Oh yeah, I could get one for this. I looked at that.
And the thing was with that, it's like he's like, yeah, it was great. When he was doing our drive, when he was doing my grandparents' drive, they were on a hill, so you needed a ton of weight to drive that thing up the driveway, and it was just a real bitch of a thing. But
look at Dave. Look at Dave's comment. I'm sorry.
I missed.
I can't stop laughing. I can't stop laughing.
That explains a lot, Dave.
Oh, man.
So speaking of comments,
KY.
Interesting point. So James the Lawn Junkie, he's talking about what he does. He's got a battery powered. He's like, all I do is fold it up, throw it in the corner, and pull the battery out. Yeah. So we're a couple weeks ago, and some of the stuff we've been talking about is the future of mowing and the future of everything that's going on with batteries. That's another thing to consider is the ease of not having to worry about your gasoline and how you're storing and all that stuff. You just throw it in the garage, pull the battery out, take it inside, and there's really nothing you have to do. So as things simplify, that's another pro for the whole battery operated equipment.
Yeah, can I just say one quick thing? I posted on my Instagram story today. for those of you that will not be mowing during the winter, you can get the computer game, which is called Lawn Mowing Simulator 21. So if you need to satisfy your mowing,
but
your stripes,
is that on Xbox? Because I can't get it on my Xbox.
I'm not sure. I
pissed
saw it
about
on
that.
Steam. I thought it was a joke, but no, it's seriously, it's like
It's
$30,
legit.
but
It's legit.
you can mow golf course greens, you can mow like farms, you can create different stripe patterns. So if you got the itch, man,
Yeah,
Lawn Mowing
I think
Simulator
Skag,
21.
Toro, all of those.
I
all
always
those
got the
big
itch.
names are in there.
Yeah. So does it have you pick your mower and it spins around and you're able to
And
Yeah.
all joking aside, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm gonna have to buy it just
You
to
can get
demo it for
zero
everybody on
turns
KOTG.
I went to download it, but
I got the striping kit.
my Xbox
Yeah,
is too
yeah.
old or something. So it's an Xbox One, and they're like, "Oh, you got to have the X or the S or whatever." Well, I'm not spending $600 on an Xbox to play a $21 game. Yeah,
We should stream it live.
There you go.
And
Video
you guys
game
can all-
mow off.
you
That'll
guys
be
can all
a
talk.
dead of winter.
mow the
episode.
straightest.
Can I ask a quick question since we got him on the chat? So Highlander Lawn last week, since we're talking about winterizing, we brought up just quickly the concept of winterizing if you have in-ground irrigation. I mean, I'm not at all. I have in-ground irrigation. I'm not knowledgeable on it, and Highlander was kind of commenting on the chat. So if you don't, like, let's say you don't hire somebody or you don't do it yourself, what's like worst case scenario, what happens underground? Like, let's say I don't do anything. I got in-ground irrigation. I live in the Midwest, the Northeast, wherever we're going to get, really frozen ground, snow. What basically can happen? What's the worst case scenario?
Well, I hope you're getting ready to replace all that crap because that's exactly what will end up happening. But I mean, you can roll the dice and you might get away with it, but that's exactly what you're doing. Just roll the dice, and I guarantee you, one of these times you're going to roll snake eyes, and you'll start cracking the heads. The elbows will crack. Your manifolds and your valves will crack. For example, in 2020, I did a renovation of a very dear friend that had passed away, and we were over at his house, and I was out in their yard, and I'm like, man, this is really squishy out here. So I went to go look at his timer to see how long he was running it. And he'd been running it a lot. And I'm like, well, I need to tone that down because it's just a marsh out here. Well, then I went and looked at his valve boxes, and they were literally submerged underwater. And I thought it was they were just watering too much. And so I choked the water off for a week, came back and took a look at it, and it was still underwater. And I'm like, that ain't right. And so I went and turned the water off at the main shut off, so the stop and waste drained just a little bit. But when I dug it all out, of the 8 valves and the manifold, the 2 manifolds, everything was leaking. That thing was running 24/7. When I asked her what her water bill was, she said it was $630 that month. Because when it cracks at the manifolds and prior to the valves, that water is constantly going. Your valves are what turn it on and off. So you risk replacing everything if you don't blow it out. And so it's worth the 20 minutes of time that it takes, and even double checking the zones, blowing out, go through the entire cycle, and then try it again. Because one other thing you have to keep in mind is that you can get cavitation, and you'll get a little bit of water buildup because when you unequalize the pressure, you can get some residual water. So you want to make sure everything's out because if you leave that in there, I guarantee it. One winter you might get away with it for some odd reason, but I guarantee you you'll get stuck with your britches down, and you'll be paying a ton of money to replace that.
Yeah, and that's why actually when you're coming on and we were talking in the chat, I was actually really happy you're coming on because I feel like for a lot of people that have in-ground, like if you bought, spec house or whatever, like me, I mean, I just, I was told like, hey, you got to make sure, you get your spring backflow test in the spring, and you got to make sure it gets, winterized at the end of the year. And my next door neighbor, who's a buddy of mine, he was asking me, he's like, if I don't do it, like, what's the worst case scenario? And all I had heard is basically like, you're basically just doing like Russian roulette with the system, essentially. So no, I appreciate that. That's great info.
Yeah. Again, I've had neighbors that I was telling these guys before we came on that I've got neighbors that I asked them, did you blow yours out? And he's like, oh no, it just drains. No, it doesn't. And I hooked
Yeah,
up my compressor, blew it out, and he goes, "You got to be kidding me that there's that much water in there." And I said, "Bro, it does not drain that much. It might drain a little bit, a couple gallons, but that's about it. Those lines are almost completely fully charged when the water gets shut off." And
I mean, what is the adapter like $8-9 or something? You can buy at Lowe's, like, right, save you a ton of money if you spend like $9, blow it out yourself.
Yeah, I use my own compressor
out
and
yourself.
blow it out.
Yeah, I want to get irrigation. Next place we move to, that's something that'll be my list of things to do eventually. And we're gonna drop a few thousand on a system. Taking that small step to take care of it is a no-brainer to me.
One of the things that blows me away is that nobody puts a port in to blow it out with, or something to access it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I've gone to some people's homes and looked, and I'm like, well, I can't find anywhere to blow it out. Now, you can get inventive. I mean, I've seen it to where somebody didn't have that, and they went and hooked onto one of the heads and took the pop off, and he had retroed something and at least blew that out. But that's not my favorite. I'd rather blow it just prior to the valves, blow it completely out, run each zone, get it completely cleared out, and then I'm good. But it's worth a couple bucks. So. Oh boy, Dave is tearing it up.
Go to bed, you pervert.
Gotta have that mind in the gutter.
So do you think, again, preparing for winter for the cold season, I'm sorry if I'm not trying to keep talking here, but like, is there value? Do you see value, or do you guys use any type of things to cover your spigots? Do you use, like last year for the first time, I used this system called freeze mist, which kind of just slowly drips out of the spigots, and you leave it on like a low. I know people will put like literally the covers on it. Is there value in that? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm a complete idiot on this topic.
I just put an insulator.
We had a guy
that goes on it, and it does fine.
Yeah, I use the cover.
We don't get too crazy cold.
Yeah, I don't want to find out what happens if I don't.
Well, yeah. I haven't had issues yet. We had a guy come out. We had a leak in one of our little outdoor spigots, but the plumber guy that came out, he was saying, I'm not an expert in home building, but he was saying, like, when you turn it off, the valve is like, it's like a foot or so inside the house, inside the outer wall or whatever is where you're actually turning it off at. So like the little drips you get at the end, it shouldn't freeze. I'm not an expert in all that, but I don't put anything on ours. I just, turn them off and they've been fine. But yeah, I mean, I thought about it, but he said it's not a big deal with these newer homes. Maybe it's something older homes where it's different, but yeah, it's like it goes like into the house where it's warmer and it won't freeze or something like that. I don't know if that makes sense, but no, I don't.
Yeah, they have frost-free ones they're called or something. Yeah, I have one.
How's that again, Bill? Explain that again with your hands.
He just goes in there a little ways.
Okay.
And you kind of twist it. That's how it. Anyway.
You are
something like that,
sir.
I like that corkscrew.
And I
get creative.
I have a basement, so I have a shutoff valve for each of my outdoor spigots, like inside the house in the basement. So I can just come down into the basement and I just shut off the shutoff valve and then go open the spigot outside and drain it from the shutoff valve out to the spigot, and that's a thing. So I don't have to worry about doing like a cover or anything like that because I have the benefit of having that plumbing run, in my basement. I can just turn it off. So
yeah, I know they were talking about it in the chat, but you had mentioned the covers. Yeah, I actually do go out to Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, Menards, and I buy like the $3. I don't buy like the 99-cent cheap foam ones. I actually buy like the $3 ones that are like plastic, but I feel better buying the $3 ones that they're going to work a little bit better. But you hook them up underneath your spigot, and then it's almost like you cinch it to the wall.
Zip tie almost, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it really does in regards to. I mean, if it's going to get cold, it's going to get cold. But I feel like it's an added security. But do they do anything? I don't know. But it's kind of those things for a couple bucks. I just feel like I feel more comfortable doing it.
I follow that.
It's better to be safe, man. wrap it up.
Or something. They have the I guess the system where it's you plug the thing in. As soon as you're done, it just closes up. Let me see if I can.
Oh
find it
yeah,
for you.
I've seen that. Like when it's heated, it like closes
Probably
up,
won't show
and then
up.
when it's or opposite, when it's cool, it closes up, and then when it's heated, it opens up. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
Put it in front of your chest.
They even have vents like that for like a crawl space. I think it's like the same thing.
Yeah, it's called Accor or something. AQUOR. So
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, it's a pretty neat thing. But my house is a pretty pain in the ass to try to have a plumber come in and try to fix that. It's like as cool as it is. It's not worth probably having somebody come in and say, "Oh yeah, it's going to cost you $1,000 to put this in."
That's a pain in the brown eye.
Well, hey, boys,
Can I answer something right quick for Papa?
Yeah.
He was asking what a yard hydrant is. Like outside where I do most of my watering, I use yard hydrants, and you can't get a whole lot of flow off the side of your house because more than likely it's fed with like 1/2-inch pecks. So the spigots on the side of your house don't flow. You're not going to get much
Not
enough
at all.
of them. Oh. So, and like a lot of y'all talking about your outside spigots, when I bought this place, I went and bought a bunch of, sorry about Coco Melon in the background, but she won't quit.
You got about
I went and bought ball valves
and
and went 2 foot inside of the spigots, put ball valves, and that way I can cut the water off, go outside, drain them, shut them back up where dirt daubers and crap don't crawl up in them. And then that way they don't freeze. But a yard hydrant is, you get them in different frost levels, different freeze levels. Like you can get a 2-foot berry, a 3-foot berry, a 4. Turn that down.
Get her.
I wish I could. I need that ice cube thing empty.
Yeah.
2 years old and she can work that iPad and turn it wide open.
Give her some French fries, Olee, man. Come on. What are you doing?
French fries is laying right over there, believe it or not. But anyway, what it does is got a rod that goes down and it shuts off below the ground. And that way it doesn't freeze. They're called frost proof, or like a 2-foot, 3-foot, 4-foot berry. And then that way you can have it below the freeze level. Yeah. I don't winterize my whole system because it feeds all the yard hydrants and it feeds everything else. And luckily in North Carolina, it doesn't get that cold. So
You don't even drain your damn pool at your house.
didn't last year.
We
Did not
need to have
last year.
a KOTG pool party over there.
Yeah. I have to go ice dipping or something, but
Oh yeah. Naked party.
That
no.
was one thing I finally got done this
Stranger in-
week.
no
Finally got
stranger
the
in the pool.
taken care of.
No stranger in the pool.
No.
I'm gonna be
No
there in the
floaters.
spring, Olee.
No
I'm gonna be
floaters
3
neither.
hours away.
Hmm?
I'm gonna be 3 hours away in the spring.
Well, see, you said you're going to be in
I
Asheville?
Asheville.
the mountains, Asheville.
Yep.
That's a pretty cool spot. What we need to do is get together and go see the Biltmore House.
Yeah.
What's that?
Look up the Biltmore House. It's amazing. I mean, a lot of, y'all like the big yards, the big stripes and stuff. Check out the Biltmore House.
Okay.
Everyone's Googling it right now.
The Biltmore House is cool, man.
Shows Olee's home.
that Olee just did. And damn it, I told you.
I told you you'd like it.
Don't give it.
But in other words, also with
Hey,
the yard
we're,
hydrants, you get a lot more flow. So if you're really
We're running
trying
late.
to push a decent sprinkler and stuff, you get more flow because you don't have where your 3/4 line drops down to pecs and then go through the wall. Ow. You boo boo.
Vanderbilt.
My goodness.
Oh yeah.
Well, boys, should we wrap it up tonight, y'all? We're
Oh
little
yeah.
over
It's
an
the
hour.
safest
This is
thing.
awesome.
Let's wrap it.
Yeah,
So-
before we wrap it up, I got one
Yeah.
more thing. So
Yeah.
Ron, you're usually in the chat talking about deck size. What's your deck size?
Oh, I got a 42 and a 21.
All right.
Oh, interchangeable. I like it.
Interchangeable. Well, I got the 42 rider, or I got the 21 push, which I'm usually huffing behind the 21 push. So
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
I like to
hey,
ride
that's my
it.
therapy, man. That's my exercise. That's my therapy. So.
So when we doing hose talk?
Hey, wait, real quick. Olee, I got to show something.
Yeah,
that you sent
yeah.
me. We got to talk about this real quick.
1,000 subs.
This is 1,000
Here it
subs.
is.
This is part of it right here.
One part of it.
Explain it, Olee.
That's just from one company.
Explain that for our people who are listening on the podcast. What are we showing?
Whenever we hit 1,000 subs, Micro Life, Meister Soil Life is giving this away. This is going to be one of the prizes. And that's, as you see, that's a full year program.
That's
up
crazy.
to 4,000 square feet. You
Pretty
got 5
awesome.
applications there.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, that's a pretty major giveaway.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
super seaweed
yeah.
and ocean harvest.
We might have to twist his arm for at least a gallon of molasses.
Ooh,
Gotta get that molasses.
Gotta get a
Talk
jug
to
of
Kenny
it.
on that one.
Yeah.
I like
Give
the
me the
idea of Mr.
jug.
Soil Life put in the chat that we need to have a KOTG field day at Olee's place. All
Yeah.
about it.
I'm so excited about that.
Hey, speaking of deck size, my father-in-law in Florida, he's got a 72X mark, so he's got Zach beat a little bit by 12 inches there. So I showed him the 144 that X mark put out. So who knows? He might be buying that this week.
Did you get him that T-shirt? The bigger the lawn, the bigger the deck.
I'm gonna have to get him one of those. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get him that for Christmas.
I'll say that'd be a good Christmas present right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get him.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would.
Yeah, you sent me that
Hey, thank you.
144 inch.
Yeah, I just sent you that picture. Yeah, so I told him. I said, yeah, you gotta up your game a little bit. Send me the 72 here. I don't have a trailer big enough, so I'll have to drive that to the customers' houses.
I just feel like that'd be too big where like you couldn't fit any places.
Yeah, that's the problem I have with here. Like you're cutting, can't get between the gate and the back. It's like, okay, gotta push mow that.
You ain't flat, you'll be scalping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Alan Carter with the 75 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, 75 feet. Think about it, boys.
Do you math right quick? How many inches is that, Nate?
Shit, I don't know. A lot more.
Cody, what is happening at your house?
Left the water on.
We're cutting into stranger in the house, so you guys are about to
getting
witness
swatted.
some long
Somebody's swatting
dong.
them.
Cody's got black lights on.
We're at Meister. All right. Let's wrap
With
it up,
that.
boys.
Wrap it up.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in the show tonight. This was awesome. Thank you, Ryan.
Yes.
Thank you, Ron, for joining us this week. We always love having guests on, and it's always fun to hear something new.
Hey, speaking of guests, what do we got going on next week?
Oh, we do have a guest next week. That's right.
Who's joining us as our special guest next week?
Jeff, right?
Jeff, what do you got there, Cody? Who's Jeff?
We got Jeff from Turfman on, right? Is that correct?
Oh, you gonna rave?
That's correct. So next week we're gonna have Turfman on the show and talk about kind of his product and where it's being used and what advantages it has and whatnot. So definitely be a good one to look forward to. But
I'm excited about that.
Heck yeah.
That's right.
All right,
So
guys.
join us next week.
We'll see you next week.
Let's do it.
Oh,
Later. Love you.
Bye.
Go
everybody.
Hawks.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.